Hi, you guys. All right. So, what this video is for is to help you get started on the assignment that is due tonight. So you should find the assignment right over here on the right-hand side of your screen. It's the subject-verb agreement handout, okay? And go ahead and open that. Actually, this is due at the end of lunch, not necessarily tonight, but the end of lunch. So, what I want you to do is go ahead and open with Cami. Now remember, you're doing this assignment after you do the Nearpod assignment. So hopefully you did that first, and now you're on the subject verb agreement handout. So let's go back there again. If you haven't done the Nearpod, do that first and then come back to this assignment. Open with Cami, and you should see a handout that looks like this. Okay, so the Nearpod that you should have finished is talking about making subjects and verbs agree. So this is to practice what you guys went over in the Nearpod. Okay, so if you did the Nearpod, then you should remember that the verb you use depends on the subject of a sentence. The subjects and verbs go together. So in this column on the left, you have different forms of the verb be, okay? Instead of saying I be interested, you would say I am interested. If you're talking about you in the second pronoun, you would say you are interested. He, she, or it is. We, you, or they are interested. My friends are, my friends and I are interested. Okay. Other types of verbs are what are known as action verbs, things that like you see happening, right? I join the club, you join the club. Now, if you're talking about he, she, or it, then it would be joins the club. And here's where like English gets interesting, and I'm saying interesting in a funny way because we know from the last lesson, you add s to nouns to make them plural usually. Well, in the case of action verbs, when you add an s, it's showing singular. I know, that's crazy. But anyways, these two boxes will help you with the rest of the activities on this handout. We, you, or they join. Teenagers join. My friends and I join. These are all the subjects here are all plural, so we have to make the verb plural as well. Okay, so we're going to do the first section, number 1, together. So the directions say complete each sentence about careers. Right, well, you're going to type the verb that goes with the subject, okay? So if you take a look, my friend Anna and I blank the career club. So if you remember from a little time back, we talked about how to find the subject of a sentence. You have to ask yourself, what is the sentence about? Is it about the career club or is it about my friend Anna and I? Well, in this case, we're talking about Anna and I. Are we talking about more than one person or are we just talking about one person? Well, let's take a look again. My friend Anna and I, that's more than one person. So this makes the subject plural. And if the subject is plural, remember right up here in this box, this last example, my friends and I, that means that the verb also must be plural. So in this instance, the correct verb would be join because the subject and verb are, the subject is plural. So I'm going to type join here. And just so you know what I'm talking about, so there's no confusion, we'll do this one. Okay. What is the subject of the sentence? The subject is Anna, excuse me, and I. It's a plural subject. So we had to use a plural verb. And so what you're going to do throughout section A is 1, find out what the subject is, and then determine, is that subject singular or plural? And then choose the appropriate verb for that. So that's section A. All right. Now let's go to section B. Kind of the same thing that we did on the last handout, but we're using verbs. John and Bianca blank about careers at the library. Well, what they want you to do is write the correct form of the verb in parentheses. So you have the verb read. Again, is read the correct word to type here, or do we need to change that? Well, it depends on the subject. Is the subject singular or plural? Let's read it again. Who or what are we talking about? We're talking about John and Bianca. John and Bianca. So that's more than one subject. We're not just talking about John. We're not just talking about Bianca, but we're talking about both of them. So that means that John and Bianca, what? They read about careers in the library. So we're going to type read on the line, okay? All right, so that's section B. Remember, ask yourself, what is the sentence about? Is it about one thing or more than one thing? If it's singular, then the verb needs to show singular. If it's plural, then the verb needs to show plural. Let's try number 7 together, just so we could see a difference, okay? John to be a pilot. Okay, so who or what are we talking about? We're talking about John. Are we talking about anybody else? You're right, we're not. We're only talking about one person. So that means the subject is singular. If the subject is singular, then también the verb needs to be singular. So in this case, instead of just typing hope, to make a verb singular, you add an S. So for number 7, it's John hopes to be a pilot. Again, I know this might be confusing for some of you because we just learned that the other day that to make a noun plural, you add an S, right? Well, it's different for verbs. To make a verb singular, you add an S. I know it's crazy. All right, so that's section B. Section C, this one you're going to answer questions about your future career. You need to make sure that your subjects and verbs agree, okay? So for number 10, you would say, what careers are you interested in? This is the pronoun I blank interested in. Well, remember, if you go all the way back up to the top, we talked about different forms of be. I am, you are, he is, so on and so forth. In this sentence, we're using the pronoun I, so which form of be should we use? Right, I am. So in this one, I'm going to type am. Okay. So this one says, I am interested in, and then you just fill in the rest. What career? What do you want to be when you grow up? And so you're going to do that for each of these sentences. So just to kind of give you a little bit more help, let's go ahead and highlight the subject of each sentence. And that way you'll already know if it's singular or plural. So let's take a look at number 11. Do you know anyone who works in one of these careers? What do they do? Okay, so for this one, we know it's going to be plural because we're asking about what they do. Okay, so whatever you type on the lines, make sure you use a plural verb to talk about they. What would you like to ask them about their career? Again, you have the pronoun I. I is singular. So you could say something, I would ask them about, right? Okay. So here are some subjects. Hopefully that'll help you when you type your sentences or when you answer the question, sorry. Okay. Portion D, write at least 3 sentences to tell more about a career you would like to choose. So notice it says 3 sentences. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be looking for. Make sure you type 3 sentences to tell more about a career you would like to choose. Make sure each verb agrees with its subject. Okay, so if the subject of your sentence is singular, the verb must be singular. If the subject is plural, then the verb must also be plural. Okay, and then the last section, it's just like the other handout that we did. You're going to fix the mistakes in this letter. Notice in the instructions it says that there are how many mistakes? That's right. There are 5 mistakes. So that's what you need to find. 5 mistakes, okay? Let's find the first one together. So I'm going to use the drawing tool, and I set the stroke thickness to 0.5. Okay. Dear Aunt Dorothy. I said that funny. Dear Aunt Dorothy. I think about my future a lot these days. Yesterday we had career day at school. Now I has lots of information about different careers. Something that didn't sound right, huh? Now I has? No, that's not right. So we're going to cross that one out. It's not I has lots of information. Okay. What should you type up there? Right. Very good. Here, I'm going to change the font size a little bit. So, yeah, you should be typing I have. That's the correct form that should be there, not I has. Because the pronoun I is singular. So it would be correct to say, now I have lots of information about different careers. All right, so we have found 1 mistake so far. So that leaves how many more? Right, 4 more that you need to fix in this letter, okay? And that is how you do this handout. So make sure that you complete each section, and then you're going to submit it to Schoology by the end of lunch. I hope that helps. Okay, pórtate bien. Bye.